There are love stories that play out in the open, and then there are the ones that unfold in the quiet spaces between public appearances, the ones you only understand when you finally look back and connect all the dots. Dylan Wang and Shen Yue have given the world plenty of moments to talk about, but the story that nobody was fully telling was the one happening behind the curtain, in the moments when the cameras weren't rolling and the press wasn't watching. This is that story. Long before the world caught on to what was really growing between them, Dylan was already showing up for Shen Yue in ways that most people completely overlooked. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was the kind of support that doesn't make headlines because it was never designed to. It was designed to actually help her. When Shen Yue was navigating some of the most intense pressure of her career, the kind that comes with being a young actress in an industry that watches your every move and judges everything from your weight to your word choices, Dylan was reportedly the steady presence in her corner that she didn't always speak about publicly. Sources close to the pair have noted that he had a way of showing up not as a co-star trying to look good, but as someone genuinely invested in her getting through hard days in one piece. If this story is already speaking to you, you already know what kind of content lives on this channel. Hit subscribe right now so you never miss a story like this one. What made his support remarkable wasn't its size, it was its consistency. During filming periods that were physically and emotionally draining, Dylan reportedly made it a point to check in on her well-being in ways that went beyond professional courtesy. People on set noticed it. The way he'd ensure she had what she needed before a difficult scene. The way he'd stay close without making it a performance. The way he treated her comfort as something that actually mattered to him personally, not just as a co-star obligation. There was a period in Shen Yue's life when online criticism of her was particularly brutal. The internet can be merciless, and she was far from immune to it. During that stretch, Dylan was quietly doing something that only a handful of people knew about at the time. He was actively countering that noise in her personal space, reminding her of her value, her talent, and her worth in a media environment that was doing the opposite. He wasn't posting about it. He wasn't making it a public statement. He was just being present for her in the way that a person who genuinely cares about someone actually is. This is the part of Dylan Wang that his most dedicated fans have always seen glimpses of but rarely get the full picture on. Behind the polished image and the heartthrob reputation is someone who, by multiple accounts, takes the people he cares about very seriously. With Shen Yue, that seriousness translated into a kind of quiet loyalty that she has alluded to in interviews without ever fully spelling out. You had to read between the lines, and when you did, the picture that emerged was of a man who had decided that she mattered and was going to act accordingly regardless of who was watching. The timeline of their relationship, when you trace it carefully, is full of these hidden moments of support. There were public events where his body language told a story his words weren't yet allowed to tell. There were moments caught by fan cameras where he was clearly attuned to her in a way that went beyond professional familiarity. And there were the moments that were never caught at all, the private ones that only became known later through the kind of slow, careful storytelling that people who love them have pieced together over time. One of the most telling patterns in how Dylan supported Shen Yue was how he handled moments when she was being underestimated. In an industry full of people who are quick to form opinions about actresses and even quicker to voice them, Dylan consistently positioned himself as someone who saw her full picture. Not just the roles she played or the projects she'd attached her name to, but who she actually was as a person building a career under an enormous amount of scrutiny. That kind of seeing, that real, full acknowledgement of a person, is rarer than most people realize, and she clearly felt it. Their dynamic also revealed itself in how he spoke about her when the topic came up, which in interviews it occasionally did. He chose his words carefully, the way someone does when they're protecting something real. There was warmth there that you couldn't manufacture and specificity that you couldn't fake. He wasn't reciting talking points about a co-star. He was talking about someone he knew, respected, and cared for in a way that had clearly deepened well beyond what a professional relationship could explain. What this story ultimately tells us is that the most meaningful support is almost never the kind that gets documented in real time. It lives in the phone calls made at inconvenient hours, in the small decisions to prioritize someone else's peace of mind, in the choice to be consistent when consistency is hard. Dylan Wang, for all the public narrative that has swirled around him, seems to understand this. And in Shen Yue's toughest moments, that understanding was exactly what she needed from exactly the right person. The full depth of what passed between them during those hard seasons may never be entirely public knowledge, but the evidence is there for anyone willing to look past the headlines and sit with the quieter, more honest version of the story. Two people who found each other in one of the most artificial environments imaginable, a film set, a publicity machine, a world built on performance, and somehow managed to build something genuine inside all of that noise. That is not a small thing. That is actually everything.